This Yerushalmi Berachos Daf Samach Vav, corresponding to the in the article, those other edition, corresponding to the towards the bottom of Mem Zayin and Aleph in the Vilna edition, and we're starting from the third line. Other Grizamta. So from here, later on, it's going to seem that a Grizamta is a kind of Pasababa Kistin, but that's not what it is here. Here we are talking about some sort of dish with turmusin, lupins, as the English name goes, and the Rabbi Yirmiyah B'Shem Rabbi Yirmiyah says Mevarach turmusa. So you make the bracha on the turmus. But the Charedim says Perush Ma'achal Lupni Belaz both turmusim minim harbe. It's turmusim and other meaning. Sorry, it goes mitugan dvash, like when you have a nut which is fried in honey. The poskim say that the it goes is primary, and you mevarich alav and alav mevarich. Now, the again, according to the Yerushalmi Shita, they don't necessarily have to be mixed together, but like we said yesterday. But in any event, it's not, even if the Grizamta is not just a is not necessarily mixed together, but the turmus in this Grizamta dish is the ikar. Amar Rabbi Levi, al shem al tigzol dal ki dalhu. The Charedim explains al shem turmusim are considered to be a inferior food. So it's a dal, right? It's inferior. So the Charedim explains, Lotem Bekemet Tumusa mean bazui. Since the tumusa is an inferior type of food, Shein Ola Shulchan Malachim, which you wouldn't serve at the table of a king, Kamar B'Sechta B'Zara, right? Loikra Ed Ikar, maybe it's not called an Ikar, Ed goes Chadam Alosh B'Tol Advash. So, Vaidis Ki Ikar Tfila, it's once man, reason why it's about that is what's to mention Ikar Tfila, Maisi Hadi Gizamto, Avgav Lo Dami, the Tfila Shemala, even though it's not like the Tfila above, right? Because they were talking about the bracha afterwards, right? We were just talking about in the pre yesterday. We were talking about the evet, the tefillah, the appetizer you ate can be included because of mazon. Here we're talking about bracha rishona. What you make the bracha rishona on. So, but still, since it's not about ikon tefillah there, we're talking about ikon tefillah again about by the tumusa. So the or the grizamta, which has the turmus inside it. So again, just because it's fair food, it's still the ikar of this dish. Akadum sheish b'daito lecho pas. So all of this, getting back to what we were speaking about yesterday, is when you had in mind to eat bread. Daito lecho pas lo b'da. If you have to eat bread, then it's not applied. Charedim says achrei peros, right? Ava emedat lechol peros modu the mean shiva adif. Okay, but it's independent. There's you're not going to bench afterwards. This means shiva adif. Umaise tamuda siata lahai piska ma'avda myself. And now this is being repeated here in order to bring a riot from the following discussion. Now here it says Rav Gamliel Zuga. Now in Masechah Sukkah, when it just says Gamliel Zuga, it doesn't say Rav Gamliel Zuga, and also the Charedim just says Gamliel Zuga. He takes it to Rabban, but it's interesting what he says. Zuga means a barber. So Chacham Hayah Shenene Nenem Yigio. He was a Chacham who wanted to get his parnasa from his toil. Kamo Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha. Just like Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha was a blacksmith. Rabbi Sandler was a shoemaker. So Gamliel Zuga, he made his living from barbering. So I'm not sure from the Gemara Sukkah, it seems that he was not necessarily Talmid Chacham. But, okay, certainly if the word Rabban appears here, you would say that. The word Rabban, I don't think necessarily he was a Talmid Chacham, but he was somebody who was a significant person. I guess the barber was a significant person back then. So Salak Rabbi in the base of Rabbi Yanai. He went to those of the house of Rabbi Yanai. The Chamson Nasvin Zayson Mavarkin in front of Achrov. So he saw them taking um, um, olives and making a bracha both before and after the olives. Now the key point here, which is the Ridbaz makes, Shafilu b'taitu lecho pas, Rabbi Abba. They would pass following the sheet of Rabbi Abba, that even they had in mind to eat bread afterwards, they still make a bracha before and after eating the olives. Some of Avdin Kedei, so Gamliel Zuga said, is that what you're supposed to do? Rabbi Zir Shal, Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachman, Rabbi Chaim Shem Avina, Kol Amon Moedish Yesh Min Shiva Olavu Mar V'Varich. Everybody agrees that if there's the Min Shiva involved, then you make the bracha on the Min Shiva. Rabbi Zir said V'Yaus. This is appropriate. How so? We see the Rabbanan when they go up to the Sudas Rosh Chodesh, they eat grapes and they don't make a bracha at the end. Is it not when they had in mind to eat bread? Now, the Gemara is very confusing the way it appears in front of us. What exactly? The Gamliel Zuga thing seems left dangling, and then the next to you seems choppy. So the Mashbiach makes some order here. He says, Kol roe yodeh. Anybody who sees this sugya will confess, will admit, Kikamu pachim ma'amorim. My morim are mixed up here, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Rabbi Zira, first you have Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Zira says, Shalach Shal, Rabbi Shimon Nachman, Rabbi Zira, Shalach Shal, Rabbi Zira, Be'us, Min Mad on a Chamyon. It's right, Min Mad the Chamiron Gamliel, Be'Peis Rabbi Yanai. In other words, that which is Gamliel Zuga saw in the house of Rabbi Yanai, Im Ya'us, is that correct? Min manda non chamyon that we see. What do we see? That he saw that they were eating olives and they made a bracha b'yen. Yet on the other hand, we saw Rabbanan going up to the Sudas Rosh Chodesh. They would eat grapes. They didn't make a bracha at the end. On that, so what's going on here? So on that, the tirates low. He answered him that not. And so then when it says lo b'sheish that the lecho pas, that the answer is low. B'sheish that the lecho pas, and that's what he explains here. It's no evidence from the fact that they made the bracha. When they made bracha on the grapes, they did not make a bracha afterwards because they had in mind to eat bread. Right? That's why they make a bracha at the end. And then it was supposed to be brought down Rav Kahana b'shem Ravina Kol Mamad Yishim Yesh Be'em Min Shiva Olavu Mavarich. If there's among them Min Shiva, you make a bracha on that. And then it continues. Minim Shiva. If you have the minim Shiva in front of you, on which they make a bracha. Tamar min. They said in Bavel Kol Akedim LeMikra. Anything which comes first in the pasuk, it comes first in the mikra. It comes first in the bracha. Also, since there are two arets in the pasuk, eretz chita so gefen own eretz zei shem l'vash. Whatever is closer to aretz comes first. So it's chita. Chita will come first, right? But before Sora, we have Zayis, because Eretz Chita, Sora, Gevnei, Eretz Zeis, Shemen, right? So first Chita, then Zeis Shemen, right? Then Sora, and then Tavash, and so on and so forth. So because anything which comes, you go by the order, except whatever is close to the Eretz comes before the other things. There are obviously other ways to read the Gemara, but in any event, it's clear that the Gemara was out of order, and that you had to, the shakla Tara had to be phrased differently than it is here. So the bottom line is that we come to the conclusion that the case of Gamliel Zuga was a case where they didn't have mind to eat bread. So that's they changed their mind afterwards. They had bread, but initially they didn't mind to have bread. So therefore, they made a bracha on the olives both before and after. And then when they had the bread, it was a separate cheshbon. In the case when they went up to the Sudas Rosh Chodesh, they had a mind to eat bread. So therefore, they didn't make a bracha. They didn't make a bracha achrona on the grapes. They relied on birchas hamazon, like Rabbi Shimon Levi, not like Rabbi Ba. Halacha Maslisin. Beracha yain shifnei hamazon. If you made a bracha on the wine before you started the meal, plus yain shlach hamazon exempts the wine after the meal. Beracha prepare shalifnei hamazon. If you made a bracha on a appetizer before the meal, then patas paras shachar hamazon exempts the parperes after the meal. Birach al pas. If you made a bracha on the bread, patas paras exempts the parperes. Birach al parperes made a bracha on the parperes. Lo patas the pas doesn't exempt the pas. Shamrim aflo ma'asekdera. It doesn't eat. It also true the similar thing about ma'asekdera, which is cooked mezonos. So the interesting. The Pnei Moshe brings down two pshatim here. It says parperes kol davar shemlafim bo as anything with which you accompany bread could go on basar v'dagim ubeitzim. I said it's an appetizer. That was not the right thing to say. Sorry. According to this, it's something which is accompanies the bread, which is like meat and fish and eggs. Korean parperes, the go parperes. Parim Shem Avim, parperos kodem asuda. Sometimes there's being these things before the meal to serve as an appetizer. In order to bring you to, in order to make you hungry. And then you bring other parperos after the meal. After they finish eating the bread. So it's really, it's stuff which accompanies bread, but it's eaten very often as an appetizer or as a dessert. Okay. Then he says, interesting, second part. She says, Eastern Farshim parperos to masisin pasat snuma bakara. It is I think it's called rusks. It's like a dried bread. Sheba mara lechet. It doesn't look like bread, but like so it's like a cake. If you made a bracha on the parperes, you don't accept the pas. Avogadu minami min pas. It's also even though it's a type of pas, but it's not. It's a mizonos, not a motzi. Avamaisik dera, but the cooked shiva chamesh laminim, the five minim of cooked grain. It's like oatmeal, such like the geras kamel, the kemach she's bashel mayim konel levivos, such as pancakes. Chitzaben patas parperes, patar haparperes osam. Parperes exempts them, okay, because they're also mizonos. Again, it's going to sheet that it's mizonos. Beishamai sabak change parperes lo patas apas kach lo patar ma'asekdera. Doesn't exempt ma'asekdera, but ain't locha ke beishamai. Locha is not like the beishamai in this regard. Says Gemara, Amrav Chisa lo tina el birach yan shivnei mozo. It only says you made a bracha on the wine before the meal. Plus yan shachar mozo, you exempt the wine after the meal. Avan birach yan shebetoch mozo. Made a bracha on wine within the meal. Lo patas yan shachar mozo. It doesn't work for after the meal. Tamramin and above this, I feel birach yan shivnei mozo. You made a bracha on wine before the meal. Lo patas yan shachar mozo. It won't go on the wine after the meal. It's not effective for that. Hi, didn't we learn in our Mishnah? How can they argue? It says, Birach Ayan Shifnei Hamazon, Patas Ayan Shachar Hamazon. Rav Huna, Rav Yehoshua ben Levi said, Kodein the Shasei Kunditon. It's like somebody who drinks Kunditon. Or then, the Gemara says, we're going to come back to the second Koramar, Kodein Shasei Chamra B'sar Bilnei. Somebody who drinks wine after Bilnei. So, the Amuti Yerushalmi says that that there is a rule, and Hilchos Suda writes that the reason is because on these you make shahakol near vivoro, and because Gil says not besar balnei but chaser balnei. So evidently these are two types of inferior wines which you make a shahakol. Condito, because other stuff is mixed in, and therefore they lost the chashivas wine and the bilnei stuff. The it's the Mecharan says it's wine which you drink after you leave a bathhouse. And evidently, according to the rule, it's also an inferior type of wine which you make a shak only every borough. So according to the according to according to this, the Gemara, that which it says that it's plate there, the yain achar mazon is only wine which is inferior, right? It's inferior. It's included in the wine before the mazon. It was difficult to understand. So let's see the Rash Cirilio, which I think is a little bit easier to deal with. Which it says, he says, kunditon is dvash yain pilpulin. It's wine which has honey and peppers. Version of Sikh Rav Kahana. So our Mishnah is konditon. The Mishnah is konditon came the masoku, since it's sweet. Lo asach daite minei. There's no esach hadas, even though once before the meal, once after the meal. So, but you have in mind, this is sweet wine. I want to have that wine afterwards also. So it's because it's chashivas, not because it's inferior. At Abashaya, it's for the Shimon Levi, the nimachu. Other wine, Shimon Levi, it's after the meal. It's a new drinking. You change them, you decide go back and drink again. It's a new drinking. So you make a bracha on each and every cup. And this is what Shimon Levi holds in the Bavli. Okay, it's a similar idea. It's not precisely the same thing, but it's a similar idea. Since you're govei sudas yain, that means you intended to have wine before and after the meal, so you never may see das from the wine. Habacholo, but not on a weekday. Here it says even if going on a weekday, if it's kunditin, then you have in mind to be kovea. This is all the same reasoning. And he's kind of terse about the next case. So evidently somehow, since it's after the bathhouse, so they drank plenty of wine, and therefore they drank wine before the meal, wine after the meal, and therefore they had in mind all that wine they're going to drink. So again, there's no hesek hadas according to this. And we have come to the precise end of Samach Vavam Beis. So we'll stop here.